All right, everybody get ready because today we are going deep on this book
Yeah.
that really kind of blew my mind
Yeah.
in a good way, though.
hmm
It's called The Courage to be Disliked. And it is,
I love that book.
yeah, it's not your typical self-help book.
No.
I mean, this is like diving into some deep
Yeah. Yeah.
Adlerian
It's
psychology.
heavy.
Yeah, and it really makes you rethink the way we
Totally.
think about things like happiness,
Yeah.
trauma,
hmm
all that good stuff.
Yeah. And like, all the stuff in between,
Oh, yeah.
all the relationships,
Oh, for sure.
but how we kind of interact with the world and other people.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's really good.
Well, and what I really like about it right off the bat was
Yeah.
that it was written as this dialogue
Yeah.
between this,
A young man.
this young guy who's kind of going through it
hmm
and this really wise, insightful philosopher.
Yeah. It's like a modern day, like Socratic dialogue
That's it.
almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're kind of eavesdropping in on this
Yeah.
really in-depth
Yeah.
philosophical debate,
But it's accessible.
but it's accessible, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
written in
Yeah.
a way that you can really
Yeah.
grasp the concepts.
Totally. And he's asking questions like we would ask.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so relatable because
Yeah.
that skeptical young guy,
Absolutely.
he's asking the questions that like
Mhm.
we're all thinking.
Exactly.
Can we really just ditch all the baggage from our past
Yeah.
and just decide to be happy
Right.
like right now?
In this moment.
Is that even possible?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the question, right?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And the book kind of tackles it head on.
Totally.
One of the things I found just
Yeah.
absolutely mind-blowing was,
I know what you're going to say. Teleology.
okay, yeah, so explain
Right.
teleology.
Okay. So teleology is this idea that we often create our own problems to achieve a certain goal,
Yeah.
even if we're not aware of it.
So you're saying that sometimes we are actually creating
Yeah.
our own anxiety, our own unhappiness.
Yes.
Not because we're masochists,
Right.
but because it's serving a
Alfred
purpose that maybe we're not even aware of.
A hidden purpose.
Yeah, a hidden purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of
It's wild, right?
a freaky thought.
Yeah.
So is there an example in the book that kind of
Yeah. There's a great example.
illustrates that?
So, like, the young man's friend is a recluse.
Okay.
He never leaves his house.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrified,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so the conventional thinking would be
Oh, he's got some trauma in his past.
he's got some past trauma,
Right.
but the philosopher is saying, no, no, no.
Okay.
He is choosing this.
He's true.
He is choosing this crippling anxiety
Oh, wow.
because it's serving a purpose.
Okay.
It's keeping him safe.
Interesting.
You-
So it's like a defense mechanism almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he's not even aware of it.
No, he's totally unconscious of it.
So it's like our brains are,
Tricking us.
yeah, playing these like elaborate mind games with us
Yeah.
without us even knowing.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, that's kind of terrifying.
It is kind of scary.
But also fascinating.
It is kind of scary.
But also fascinating.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is then,
Yeah.
what are those subconscious goals that might be driving
Exactly.
our own behavior?
Yeah.
Like, are we staying in a job we hate
Yeah.
because it's giving us a sense of security,
Maybe.
even though it's slowly killing us inside?
Right.
That one hit a little close to home.
It's real.
Yeah,
It's real.
it is real.
We all got to look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole idea of teleology really got me thinking about,
Yeah.
some of my own choices
Totally.
and patterns in my life.
I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from the book is that we
Yeah.
realize, like, oh, I'm doing that.
Oh, yeah, I am doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real like light bulb moment for me.
Totally.
And then another thing that I found really intriguing
Yeah.
was this idea of the trap of recognition.
Oh, yeah.
So how much of our lives are we spending
Mm-hmm.
trying to get validation and approval
Oh,
from
yeah.
other people?
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, probably more than we think subconsciously, you know?
Yeah.
Like how much of our energy is going towards just trying to fit in and
Yeah.
get people to like us.
Yeah. And is that really,
Yeah.
is that really serving us?
No,
You know?
not at all.
And there's a good example in the book about that too.
Oh, yeah, with the young man.
Yeah. With the young guy who wants to be a librarian,
Yeah, he wants to be a librarian.
but his family wants him to go into the family business.
Oh, yeah, he's got all that pressure.
So he's caught in that
Yeah.
reward and punishment loop
Right, like he's only going to get their approval. Yeah.
if he does what they want.
If he performs in a certain way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about external validation
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
what he really wants.
Yeah, what he really wants to do with his life.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
So the question is,
Yeah.
How do we break free
Right. How do we get out of that trap?
from that trap
Yeah.
of recognition?
Yeah.
I mean, is it even possible to just stop caring what other people think?
That's the million-dollar question.
That seems like a pretty unrealistic
Yeah.
expectation. So how do we...
Well, that's where the courage to be disliked comes
Yeah.
in, the title of the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I first heard that title,
Yeah.
I was like, ah,
It sounds kind of intense.
yeah, it does. The
Yeah.
courage to be disliked, like that sounds a little scary.
Yeah.
You're like, am I supposed to be like a jerk to everyone?
Right. Are we just pushing people away?
Yeah. Yeah, like what?
Yeah, no.
What is that about?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's not about being mean
Nope.
or, or
Yeah.
like you said, being a jerk to people.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And that to live authentically
Okay.
means that some people aren't going to vibe with you.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
Okay. So it's more about
Yeah.
living in alignment with your own values.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it means
Yeah.
ruffling some feathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that though? Like,
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, it sounds really empowering,
Yeah.
but also kind of scary.
It is.
Like how do you handle
Yeah.
all the, inevitable judgment
Yeah.
and criticism that
Uh-huh.
comes with being your true self?
I
mean-
crazy.
I'm not sure I'm ready for all that negativity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. It's a process,
Yeah.
but the book has some really great insights into
That's-
how to deal with that, and
Mhm.
it really gets into some deep philosophical stuff.
Okay.
Like this idea that ultimately all problems
Oh, here we go.
are
Yeah.
interpersonal relationship problems.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So it's not just
Yeah.
romantic relationships. It's
Right.
all your relationships.
some family, friends.
Colleagues. Even the relationship with yourself.
Even that, yeah.
Yeah.
The most important one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if all problems are interpersonal relationship problems,
Yeah.
how do we navigate
That's the question, right?
Yeah. all these
Yeah.
tricky dynamics?
Yeah.
I mean, is there like a secret formula
No, there's no formula.
for interpersonal bliss?
No, but there are definitely
Right.
some radical perspectives
Oh.
that the book offers.
Well, one of the concepts that really stood out to me was this
Hmm.
idea of the separation of tasks.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that one. So it's about recognizing that we're only responsible for our own actions and choices,
Okay.
not for the reactions or feelings of others.
So if someone's not vibing with my decision,
Yeah,
it's on them, not on me.
exactly.
Got it.
The book uses this example of
Yeah.
a young woman
Oh.
who's terrified of blushing in public.
Oh, gosh, I know that feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
She's so convinced
Yeah.
that fear
Hmm.
is what's holding her back
Yeah.
from really connecting with others.
Oh, yeah. And I used to be so self-conscious about
Yes.
sweating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I thought everyone was staring at my armpits.
Oh, I see. I can see that.
Yeah.
We've all been there, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the philosopher
Yeah.
argues that her fear of blushing
Uh-huh.
isn't actually the problem.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
her lack of self-acceptance.
Ah.
That's the real issue.
Interesting. So it's
Yeah.
not about
Yeah.
controlling the blushing.
No, it's about accepting
It's about accepting that it happens
that it's going to happen.
and kind of moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's
that
a-
mindset shift.
That is a mindset shift
Yeah.
for sure.
Total.
And that's where I think that idea of encouragement comes in.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about encouragement.
Because encouragement is a big part of
Yeah,
Adlerian psychology.
it is.
And it's not about
Right.
trying to fix someone
Yeah.
or like their flaws.
Well,
It's more about helping them find the courage
mhm.
to accept themselves
Exactly. As they are.
as they are. And
Yeah.
so instead of saying like,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to blush,
Right.
you'd be like, it's okay to blush.
Yeah.
Everybody does it sometimes.
Right.
You can kind of take the shame out of it.
Yeah. It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Totally.
So another idea that really blew my mind was this concept of horizontal relationships.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
Okay. So is that like when you have those people in
Yeah.
your life who just get you?
It's definitely about connection,
Yeah.
but it goes a little bit deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about building relationships
Mm-hmm.
based on equality and respect.
Okay.
So as opposed to a vertical relationship.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So like a boss and an employee.
Okay. Got it.
That's typically a vertical relationship.
Yeah.
One person has more power.
Okay. So a horizontal relationship would be more like
Right.
a friendship
Yeah, like a close friendship.
where you're both on the same level.
Exactly, where you value each other equally.
Okay. And so how does this idea
Yeah.
of horizontal relationships
Yeah.
play out in like family dynamics?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because families are so complicated.
Family dynamics can be,
Especially when you throw in all that generational,
oh my gosh, yes.
all the baggage.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that goes back to the separation of tasks, which
Yeah.
we talked about earlier.
okay.
So, like, let's say your mom
Yes.
is constantly criticizing your career choices.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is the book saying that you should just ignore her
Yeah.
and do your own thing?
That seems a little harsh.
Yeah, it does sound hard.
And, and honestly, maybe a little easier said than done.
Right. Well, it's not about ignoring
Right.
or dismissing her feelings.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that you can't control how she reacts.
Mm.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can still love and respect her
Yeah.
while staying true to your own path.
So it's more about setting those healthy boundaries.
Yeah, sitting boundary.
Like, Mom, I love you, but this is my life.
Exactly.
And I'm going to make my own choices.
Right. And it's also about recognizing
Mm.
that her disapproval
Mm.
might be coming from her own anxieties.
Right.
Or, unfulfilled dreams,
Mm-hmm.
which are ultimately her task to deal with.
Right. Her stuff, not mine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So this separation of tasks
Yeah.
is really blowing my mind.
It's powerful, right?
Yeah, because it feels like it could totally revolutionize the way we
Yeah.
approach conflict.
Totally.
Because it really takes the pressure off
Yeah.
of trying to fix other people,
It does.
or change them.
Yeah, we can't change other people.
Yeah, it's more about focusing on what we can
We're
control.
in control.
Our own thoughts, our feelings, our actions.
Right.
And speaking of focusing on what we can control,
Okay.
there was this other concept in the book
Yes.
that I found really interesting.
Tell me.
And that was this idea of community feeling.
Oh, yeah. Community feelings.
So is that kind of like that warm, fuzzy feeling you
Yeah.
get when you're with people who just
Yeah.
totally get you?
It's about connection, but it's a little deeper than that. So the book argues that
Yeah.
this sense of belonging to
Yeah.
something larger than ourselves
Yeah.
is essential
Okay.
for happiness.
Wow.
True happiness.
Wow.
Right.
So it's not just about
Yeah.
feeling good in your own little bubble.
Right. It's about feeling connected to
Yeah.
the wider world.
I can see how that would bring a sense of
Yeah.
meaning and purpose.
Totally. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that our well-being is tied to
Yeah.
the well-being of the community.
Yeah, I think we've lost that a little bit
I think so too.
in our super individualistic
Yeah, yeah.
culture.
Very me-focused.
Yeah, it's all about me, me, me.
Yeah. So it's easy to fall into that trap
It is.
of thinking that we're the center of the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the book uses this really cool analogy about maps of the world. Oh, okay.
So a French map
Okay.
puts France
Yeah.
in the center.
At the center.
A Chinese map
Yeah.
puts China in
Yeah.
the center.
Right.
And they're both right.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all about perspective.
It is. It's just perspective,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so I think by embracing this
Yeah.
idea of community feeling,
Yeah.
we can start to overcome
Mhm.
those feelings of isolation and loneliness,
Which are so prevalent
especially now.
in our culture,
Yeah,
you know? So
yeah.
it's not just about taking care of ourselves,
Right.
but it's about extending that care outwards to our communities and
Yeah.
the world around us.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah. And speaking of contributing to the world,
Okay.
the book has a lot to say about work
Oh, yeah. Work.
and finding meaning in our work.
Purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about finding a job that you love,
Right.
which is great.
Which is great if you can do it.
If you can find that, but
Yeah.
it's more about recognizing that work
Yeah.
can be a source
Of fulfillment.
of fulfillment
Right.
regardless of what you do.
Right. It's about making a difference.
Yeah.
Even in a small way.
Right. And so, like, even
Yeah.
if your job isn't
Right.
glamorous
Yeah.
or, like, world-changing,
Yeah, yeah.
you can still find meaning in it
Absolutely.
by focusing on the positive impact that
Yeah.
you're making.
That's a great way to look at it.
Like, even if you're just answering phones or
Mhm.
stocking shelves,
You're contributing.
you're contributing
Yeah.
to the smooth running of society. And-
Exactly.
yeah.
And the book gives this really fascinating example of these wealthy individuals
Okay.
who could totally retire
Yeah.
and live a life of leisure,
Right.
but they choose
They choose to
to
work.
continue working
Wow.
and contributing to philanthropic causes.
Hmm.
So it's not about the money.
No, it's about purpose.
It's about the purpose.
It's about giving back.
Yeah.
You know? But then on the flip side,
Yeah.
the book also cautions
Okay.
against this pursuit of
Yeah.
easy superiority.
Okay. What is that?
So that's like trying to feel special
Oh, I know those.
without putting in the real effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the ones who are always bragging about their achievements,
Right.
but never actually doing anything
Yeah.
meaningful or challenging.
It's all surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they might overwork themselves.
Yeah, to appear important,
Yeah.
but really they're terrified of failure.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we avoid falling into
Yeah.
that trap?
Well, the book suggests
Yeah.
that true fulfillment comes from
A cool
facing
place.
our challenges
Okay.
head on
Mm-hmm.
and striving for growth, even if it's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or we make mistakes along the way.
Okay. Yeah. And it's about embracing what the philosopher calls the courage to be normal.
The courage to be normal. I know.
Right.
It sounds
It's a good one.
almost like a contradiction in terms.
Yeah. It would
Because
seem
we-
paradoxical.
Yeah, like we're constantly being told
Yeah.
to stand out,
Right.
to be exceptional, to
extraordinary.
be anything but normal.
Yeah. Be special.
Yeah.
Right.
But what is he getting at?
So he's saying that by letting go
Yeah.
of that need to be
Yeah.
special or extraordinary,
Okay.
we can actually find a deeper sense
Yes.
of self-acceptance
Fun
and
story.
happiness.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can stop comparing ourselves to other people.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just focus on our own unique journey.
Yeah. Oh, that's so freeing.
It is freeing.
Yeah.
It is.
Like it takes the pressure off. You don't have to be a superstar
No, you don't.
or genius.
You just have to be yourself.
You just have to be you.
That's it.
Okay. And then the book ends with this idea
Yeah.
that I love.
Okay.
It says life is not a straight line.
Right.
It's a series of dots.
Oh, I love that.
That's such a great visual.
It is.
Yes. What did that mean exactly?
So it's about shifting our perspective on time
Okay.
and how we measure progress.
Okay.
So instead of viewing life
Yeah.
as this linear path with a predetermined destination,
Yeah.
it's about embracing the present moment
Okay.
and recognizing that every experience,
Yeah.
every interaction
Yeah.
is like a little dot
Okay.
that contributes
Yeah.
to the larger tapestry of our lives.
So it's about savoring the journey,
Exactly.
not just focusing on the destination.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it really is. And you know what's so cool is that it's not
Yeah.
like a dry
Oh, the
philosophy
law.
book.
No, it's not a textbook.
You know what I mean? Even though it gets into some deep stuff,
Right.
it's written in such an engaging way.
Yeah. It feels very
Yeah,
conversational.
conversational.
Like you're just having a chat with a wise friend.
Like somebody who's just like gently nudging you to see things differently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what I liked about the dialogue format too.
Yeah.
Is that young guy,
Yeah.
his skepticism
Yeah.
and his pushback
Mm-hmm.
really helped me to process the
Yeah.
ideas.
Totally.
Because he was kind of voicing
Yeah.
all those doubts that were swirling around in my head.
Like he was asking the questions we were all thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that made it so relatable
Totally.
for me.
Yeah.
And the philosopher doesn't shy away from those questions.
No, he doesn't.
You really
He's not afraid.
meets the young guy
Yeah.
where he's at
Totally.
and uses all these
real life example.
real life examples and analogies
Yeah.
that just make it click,
Yeah.
you know?
It's really helpful.
Yeah, and there's this underlying sense of hope
Yeah.
that I really appreciated.
There is a sense of hopefulness in the book.
Yeah, it's not about
Yeah.
dwelling on your problems.
Right. It's not about like wallowing in your misery.
Right.
It's about empowering you to change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about saying like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
this is the situation,
Yeah.
but here's what you can do.
You have the power to change.
Right? You have the power to change it
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes it different from
Yeah.
a lot of other self-help books.
Totally.
It's not about toxic positivity or
Yeah.
pretending.
No, it's not about like putting on a happy face
Right,
or
exactly.
pretending everything's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about saying,
Yeah.
okay,
It's real.
life is messy.
It's messy.
There are challenges.
Yeah, there are setbacks.
There are setbacks.
You're going to mess up. You're
No.
going to make mistakes.
You're going to screw up,
Yeah.
but
You got
here's how to navigate it with a little bit more
Yeah.
courage and self-awareness.
more gracefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest takeaways for me was this idea that
Yeah.
happiness
Mm-hmm.
is not this elusive goal.
No, it's a choice.
It's a choice we make
we make every day.
in each moment.
Right here, right now.
Right here, right now,
Yeah.
regardless
It doesn't depend on our circumstances.
of our circumstances.
Yeah.
It's more
It's
about
an internal thing.
shifting our focus
Yeah.
from what we lack
Right.
to what we have,
Exactly.
from dwelling on the past
Yeah.
to embracing the present.
Moment.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
It's so easy to get caught in that, like, If only trap.
If only I had this, then I'd be happy.
Right. If only I had that.
If only I had $1 million.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Then I'd be set.
Right.
But this book kind of flips that script on its head.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's where I think
Yeah.
the idea of contribution comes in. Yeah.
It's about finding something
Yeah.
that gives you meaning.
Yeah.
That makes you feel like you're part of something.
Yes.
Bigger.
Bigger than yourself.
Than yourself.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be
No.
this grand.
It can be small.
Yeah, this huge.
Tiny little things.
Yeah, like world-changing gesture.
It could be like volunteering at a soup kitchen.
Yeah. Or even just like
Yeah.
smiling at someone.
Yeah, helping a neighbor.
On the street.
Yeah, holding the door.
Holding the door open.
Just a little acts of kindness.
Yeah, those little acts of kindness that ripple outwards
Exactly.
and create this more
more love,
stimulating, supportive
community.
Yes. And you know what I also appreciated about this book?
What's that?
Is that it's not just a theoretical exercise.
It's practical.
It's very practical.
Yeah.
It gives you tools.
Yeah.
And exercises that you can actually implement.
Totally. Like all problems are interpersonal relationship problems.
Wait, say that again?
All problems are interpersonal relationship problems.
Okay, that's a big one.
It is.
That's a major key.
Yeah, write that down.
So break that down for me.
Okay, so at the root of most of our struggles, whether it's anxiety, low self-esteem, conflict at work, whatever it is, there's often a disconnect in our relationships, either with others or with ourselves.
Okay, so it's not about blaming other people for our problems,
No.
but it's about recognizing that relationships
They play a huge role.
in shaping our experiences.
Totally. And it's about taking responsibility for our part. In those relationships.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How can we communicate better?
Right.
How can we set healthy boundaries? How can we create more loving and supportive connections?
And so, for example,
Yeah.
if I'm feeling super stressed out,
Yeah.
maybe it's not just because I have a lot on my plate.
Right.
Maybe it's because I haven't set clear boundaries.
With your coworkers.
With my coworkers.
Yeah.
Or I'm not communicating my needs effectively.
Or with your partner.
To my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really makes you think about the dynamic in your relationships.
Yeah, it gives you a whole new perspective.
And the book gives you some really good tools for
it's like a toolbox.
For navigating those tricky situations.
Yeah. This has been such a good conversation.
This has been amazing.
I know.
I feel like I need to go back and reread the book.
Oh.
Me too.
Now that we've unpacked all this.
Yeah, with fresh eyes.
Yeah. And I love that it's one of those books that you can revisit multiple times and still get something new.
Always get something new.
Out of it.
Yeah.
So, for our listeners out there who are intrigued.
Yes.
Or maybe even a little skeptical about this whole thing, what would you say to encourage them to pick up a copy?
If you're looking for a book that will challenge your thinking, that will inspire you to grow, and give you a fresh perspective on happiness, relationships, the meaning of life, this book is for you.
It's a game changer.
It is.
Highly recommend.
It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
It's not a magic bullet.
No.
But it's a really powerful framework
Yes.
for creating a more fulfilling life.
Starting right now.
Right now.
That's the key.
It is.
So if you're ready to dive deep
into the world of Adlerian psychology,
pick up a copy.
Check out The Courage to be Disliked.
You won't regret it.
It's an amazing book.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes. Thank you all for listening.
We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did.
Absolutely.
And until next time,
keep on diving.